the inspiration for this tool for me was that this particular client has a whole bunch of different products. So there are a whole lot of different product categories and things to pay attention to. Things are highly seasonal for them. And we've also had a bunch of stock issues. Keeping a pulse on like what is performing well on a site-wide basis, as well as in our campaigns, is really, really helpful for optimizations on a both category level seasonally, as well as a product level for shopping campaigns, and a product level for kind of keeping pace on inventory stuff. So it just kind of gives you that data without having to kind of dig in a million different places, which, you know, at a top level, that's what this tool was really about for me, because you can get this data just in Google Analytics, but it's really slow. This is just really convenient to hop around to different date ranges and kind of be able to like pivot through different types of data really quickly without having to add the filters every time and having to change the date ranges every time, having to expand like beyond 10 rows. It's just way faster to access it like this. From the homepage, you have these three options. Data sources all live here. But to add one, you'll just go create data source. And then Google Analytics will be what this all pulls from. You don't have to add anything besides Google Analytics. A super important piece, this kind of hides up in the top, is to name it. And then click the account and make sure that you're within the right domain or right property. And then you select the right view that you want to pull your data from. And all you have to do is connect thing. But this will all import just correctly because it's analytics, and then you're done. And you can go back to home. And then under reports. So this would be the template, edit, and select your table, and then you could just change this to a different analytics. Top level overview. I wanted to understand what's performing site-wide, because I think that gives us a really good look into trends that aren't being influenced by what we're pushing in PPC. So I think having that site-wide top level pulse is really, really valuable. First, what's happening site-wide, right? What's happening account-wide. Basically pull product SKU, which is helpful in the shopping optimization piece. Unique purchases, which is obviously pretty straightforward, the number of transactions. Revenue is associated with those transactions, and quantity is we understand maybe certain things that people buy more in bulk than others. That quantity piece, that's what that's all about. This kind of percent change column here, this will automatically be set to previous period. So the calendar right now is set to last 7 days. So then the change is just comparing to the prior 7 before that. If you're kind of looking to plan ahead, it can be really, really helpful to look more at a product category level. So rather than getting down to each granular, you know, this pack or this pack, this kind of says, you know, bedding, bath, decor, blankets, toothbrushes out of personal care, rather than this one particular toothbrush. It just, the product category gives you a more top level view. Something that like I've used this for is to go back and say what was happening in September 2019 or 2020. So then we can go back and we can say, you know, seasonally, this category performed really well last September. Let's make sure that we have coloring books covered in our campaigns for September because we know they're popular. Getting down to this Google PPC top products and top product categories, this is set up the same way as site-wide, but just for only the source medium Google CPC. And if you wanted to bring in Bing too, you could do that if you're running Bing. You could do PPC, top products overall, and pull in that piece. You could change the filter to include source medium, Google CPC, regular expression, Bing CPC as well. So that really just kind of allows you to see your PPC efforts on a top level. Similarly, product categories, same thing. So this is really just the whole overall what's going on in the account PPC wise, Google PPC wise in this instance. I find the following tabs really helpful when I'm doing maintenance. So this is kind of the more like week to week piece. Shopping top products. So this helps me to pull out certain item IDs. This is really where we kind of look at inventory a little bit more too. Now let me look back at like July, for example. Because there were certain products that in school supplies, for example, were really doing super well. So there's like 6 instances of this one purchase. To me, that means push this in this backpacks campaign, bid up, make sure that you're not losing any impression share because this is selling at a really good rate, making a lot of revenue. But caveat there was that backpacks all went out of stock. So then we start to see the trends and the changes week over week or month over month, whatever your look back window is. You say like, we saw a big drop off in this particular product. Let me look this product up on the website. And it's because it's out of stock. So that's kind of where I was using this like percent change piece. It was like, whoa, if there was a huge drop off, it's like, why is that? What was causing that? And it kind of helps you on like a super granular level, say maybe I'll bid down on that product and try to surface something else that's performing really well. This tool also helps in that instance because if you're trying to surface something else that's performing really well, it's less of a guessing game. You can say, all right, so this backpack sold out. So you can kind of scroll down this list to see the other top performers and say, hey, maybe we're going to push this second top selling backpack instead. One thing that can be really helpful on the search front for this is if you're running campaigns for certain e-commerce product categories. Seasonally, we might be running a school supplies campaign. And then you see that a certain product really is doing super well. So you choose to take that particular product and highlight it in a site link. So that's kind of, I use the search campaign performance on a product level to inform that kind of stuff. So like if something's selling really well, you figure you can just highlight it on the SERP and that might grab a lot of attention. So you can actually use that as a site link. One thing I am like a little bit wary of using product level site links, just being really careful of inventory. So like if you have a site link that's going to a page that's out of stock, Google search or like a site link, for example, won't flag that or like won't stop running that like a shopping ad would because the feed will tell a shopping ad that it's out of stock. But in search, it's just up to you to check the landing page. So it's definitely just something to be aware of if your client that you're using this for has stock issues, which these days everybody does. And then I broke out brands separately. So this is what return customers or folks who are familiar, this is kind of like the things that they're starting to shop for. And I think something like that can be kind of indicative of is trends too, because like we're kind of getting into this season, people who have accounts with the client or who have ordered seasonally from the client before at this time are starting to purchase this, starting to purchase that. So that this piece definitely helps kind of with trends too. You could see, for example, that maybe you're selling quite a few washcloths at the Google PPC top products level, but you then go to this tab and you see that it's all from brand. So it might not be your towels and hygiene campaign. It's people who are already familiar with your brand that are coming in and buying all these things. So it just kind of helps you fill in the blanks and get a more clear picture. That's that at a top level. I definitely shared it with clients. They can use it to monitor, their performance as well. I'm sure they have needs to look at what they're selling anyways, but if they want, a peek into what's performing on PPC, or if they want to look back at their historical data and have a way to do it, this can help.
you.